So in continuation of learning the pharmaceutical powders, it's the second lecture in this continuation of the lecture. So today we learn flow enhancer or glidants. When you are going to formulate a powder, you need how to flow or enhancer or glidants because they are very poor to move. कभी आपने देखा पाउडर को जब मूव करते हैं तो बड़ा स्लो मूव करता है. तो व्हाट वी हैव टू उसमें कुछ आप enhancer और glidant जो मूवमेंट उसकी तेज करें. कभी आपने किसी जमाने में सत्तू होते थे, ये सकरंद वालों को मालूम होगा, तो हम सत्तू मुंह में डाल के फूकते थे तो बड़ी मुश्किल होता था आप पाउडर को मुंह में ले जाना या उसको खाना, या देन यू हैव टू मेक नीड सम लिक्विड. तो पाउडर्स को बड़ी मुश्किल हो जाती थी उसको. दैट्स व्हाई यू नीड ए एनहांसर और ग्लैडेंट फॉर पाउडर्स. So they need flow and enhancer of glidant को मूवमेंट की तेज करने के लिए, फ्लोएबिलिटी कन्वर्ट करने के लिए, you need some enhancer glidant आप ऐड करेंगे उस पाउडर में. So what they do, flow enhancers improve the flowability of the powder by reducing interparticle friction. So excipients that have anti-adherent or lubricant properties may enhance powder flowability. So what is adherent or lubricant add करेंगे. कौन से, which type of glidant you have to use? Usually glidants are hydrophobic type substances. Hydrophobic, which away from the water. Hydrophobic. इसमें कौन से, which one? Talc, magnesium stearate, starch, silica gel are to be added as a flow enhancer or glidants and powders. If bad flowability is due to what? Humidity, hygroscopicity, then what is the use of magnesium oxide and silicon dioxide? If the part humid हो गया है, hygroscopic in nature, so you have to do add magnesium oxide or silicon dioxide is advisable. If it is a lipophilic glidants decreases, what they do? The disintegration of tablets, dissolution of active materials, thus minimum quantity of glidant should be used. If lipophilic glidant is added over there, what it do is decrease the disintegration of tablets. They will take more time to disintegrate. Dissolution of the active material, so it also take part in dissolution of active material. So thus minimum quantity of glidant should be. So that's what appropriate quantity has to be added. जो खास उसकी मिकदार है वो उसमें शामिल कीजिए, which is required for the to increase the flowability. ये आपने पढ़ा होगा उसमें physical for angle of repose. Now the angle of repose is a relatively simple technique for estimating the flow properties of powder. It can easily be determined by allowing a powder to flow through a funnel and fall freely onto a surface. The height and diameter of the resulting cone are measured, and the angle of repose is calculated from this question. 10Q equal to height H oval R. H oblique R. So there's how to calculate the flowability according to this formula. There is apparatus by which that flowability has to be recorded. So for excellent flowability, if less than 25, good flowability, if 25, possible flowability if 30 degree, very poor flowability if greater than 40. So this is to measure the flowability of the powders. Still another apparatus is you could analyze the flowability of the powder. Mass volume relationship. Types of volume, so true volume, bulk volume, relative volume. So you can calculate mass volume relationship by this method. VR equal to VB oblique VT. Types of density. You have done, I think, anyone a practical of density? Who will tell me? Anyone has done the practical of density? आपने किया practical density का?
Yes, sir.
True density, bulk density, relative density. true density, bulk density, and relative density. You still have to find in powders. Porosity. Porosity is equal to V bulk minus V oblique V bulk. You have also checked the porosity of the powders also. Then USP. USP, the bulk density of powder is the ratio of the mass of an untapped powder sample and its volume, including the contribution of the interparticle void volume. The bulk density is expressed in grams per millimeters per milliliters. The tap density is obtained by mechanically tapping a graduated measuring cylinder or a vessel containing the powder sample. So tap density is the M oblique tapped volume. You have done, I think you have done this practical in your lab also. Combination of drugs. It's very important that you have to get the exact particle size before going to formulate any dosage form. So combination means make a smaller particle. जितने छोटे particle आप उसको करेंगे, उसको कहते हैं combination of drugs. The process of reducing the particle size of a solid substance. How to do? Objective क्या है? Objective combination facilitate crude drug extraction, increase the dissolution rate of drugs, aid in the formulation process, enhance absorption. That's why you need combination of drugs. How you do that? On a small scale, the pharmacy reduces the size of chemical substance by grinding with a mortar and pestle. आप जैसे लैब में आप करते हो, you have to do इसमें क्या combination of size छोटा करते हो with the help of a mortar and pestle. A final grinding action is accomplished by using a mortar with a rough surface as a porcelain mortar, then one with a smooth surface as a glass mortar. So you can do in two things, in a porcelain mortar and in a glass mortar. So grinding is a drug in a mortar to reduce its particle size is termed. Another is a trituration or comminution. You can say also it is a trituration or comminutions. Trituration, you can on the left side, how they are triturated. Very slowly you move that on a clockwise about in one direction, not on haphazardly in the pace mortar. Trituration, very slowly you have to move this one in your mortar and pestle. Levitation, so further you have to levitation to make it smooth. There are also process of this one is trituration. Now for the large scale you need mills and pulverizers. For trituration, you can't do in the industry simple with the mortar and pestle. You need some mills and pulverizers may be used to reduce particle size. The following figure shows one such piece of equipment. It's a fizz mill. It is a fizz mill commuting machine with the product containment system. Through the grinding action of rapidly moving blades in the commuting chamber, particles are reduced in size and passed through a screen of desired dimension to the collection container. You have an example in your kitchen. You also use a grinder over there. Yesterday, जैसे कल मैंने आपको बताया था मुख्तलिफ प्रोसेस हैं ग्राइंड करने के. तो आप you can have grinder at your kitchen. Mostly you have used that. उससे क्या होता है? Particle size कम से कम किया जा सकता है. Similarly, for commercial way, you have a fizz mill by which you can reduce the particle size as desired of a formulation. The collection and containment system protects the environment from the chemical dust, reduces product loss, prevent product content. क्यों जरूरत पड़ी इस मशीन थ्रू द मशीन? अगर आप आम ओपन करेंगे तो क्या होगा? एनवायरमेंटल से उसको प्रोटेक्ट, एनवायरमेंट जो डस्ट है उससे आप बचाएंगे उसको. प्रोडक्ट लॉस जो हवा में उड़ जाएगी प्रोडक्ट, उससे आप बचाएंगे. प्रिवेंट प्रोडक्ट से टू सेव द, कोई और चीज में शामिल नहीं होगी, कंटेमिनेशन से बचाएंगे. बिकॉज ड्रग्स बनाते हुए यू मस्ट हैव टू सेव द ड्रग्स विद contamination of other chemicals. So that's why you need a fizz mill. Now levitation, जैसे पीछे बात हुई levitation की. Levitation is commonly used in small scale preparation of ointments and suspension to reduce the particle size and grittiness of the added powders. Hardness होती है, सख्ती कम करने के लिए you need levitation. What you have to do? A mortar and pestle or an ointment tile may be used. For levitation you need a mortar and pestle में आप करेंगे या एक ointment tile पे करेंगे. A paste is formed by combining the powder and a small amount of liquid. That is known as levigating agent, in which the powder is insoluble. So वो आपने इस्तेमाल करना solvent जिसमें वो powder cannot be solved. So the insoluble powder, the paste is then triturated, reducing the particle size. The levigated paste may then be added to the ointment base and the mixture made uniform and smooth by rubbing them together with the spatula on the ointment tile. Now, mineral oil and glycerin are commonly used levigating agents. So, if you ask that what are the levigating agents, so mineral oils and glycerins are commonly used for levigation. Blending powder. When two or more powder substances are to be combined to form a uniform mixture, it is best to reduce the particle size of each powder individually before weighing and blending. Now, depending on the nature of the ingredients, the amount of powder, and equipments, powders may be blended by spatulation, trituration, sifting, and tumbling. So the method of blending is that one is spatulation, trituration, sifting, and tumbling, by which you can blend the powders. Spatulation. Spatulation is blended small amounts of powders by movement of a spatula through them on a sheet of paper or an ointment tile. So you have to use a spatulation. So this is a spatulation. It is not suitable for large quantities of powders or for powders containing potent substances because homogeneous blending is not as certain as other methods. So for large scale, you can't use this spatulations. Trituration. Trituration may be employed both to comminute and to mix powders if simple admixture is desired without the special need of comminution. The glass mortar is usually preferred. So you have to do trituration like this. When a small amount of potent substance is to be mixed with a large amount of diluent, the geometric dilution method is used to ensure the uniform distribution of the potent drug. You may have learned this geometric dilution in physical pharmacy, hopefully. This method is specially indicated when the potent substance and other ingredients are the same color and a visible sign of mixing is lacking. By the method, the potent drug is placed with an approximately equal volume of the diluent in a mortar and is mixed thoroughly by trituration. Then a second portion of the diluent, equal in a volume to the mixture, is added and the trituration repeated. This process is continued by adding an equal volume of diluent to the powder mixture and repeating this until all of the diluent is incorporated. Some pharmacists add an inert colored powder to the diluent before mixing to permit visual inspection of the mixing. ये जब प्रैक्टिकल जो लैब में करते हैं तो उसमें कहा जाता है कि पहले कुछ उसका जो solution ऐड किया जाए फिर after the again you have to remix. That may be up to the geometric dilution में हम करते हैं उसको पहले कुछ quantity you have to add, then you have to add more quantity you have to do. May have done your lab practicals. Sifting. Powders may also be mixed by passing them through sifter like those used in the kitchen to sift flour. जैसे आप किचन में छाननी आपके पास है, आप उससे भी आप उसको sift कर सकते हैं. Sifting result in a light, fluffy product. This process is not acceptable for the incorporation of potent drugs into a diluent powder. So you can sift by help of the sifting. Tumbling. Another method of mixing powder is tumbling the powder in a rotating chamber. Special small scale and large scale motorized powder blenders mix powders by tumbling them. Mixing by this process is thorough but time consuming. Such blenders are widely employed in industry, as are mixers that use motorized blade to blend powders in a large. अगर आपने देखा होगा कुछ कभी जो सीमेंट मिक्सिंग कभी रास्ते पे ट्रॉलर जा रहे होते हैं तो दैट वो जो उसका मिक्सर है वो मूव कर रहा होता है. इफ यू हैव एन एक्सपीरियंस ऑफ दैट तो उसमें मिक्सिंग की जा रही है. तो वही चीज हम आपको अगले पिक्चर में है कि टम्बलिंग इस तरह की जाती है. वेरी टम्बलर्स लार्ज क्वांटिटी मिक्सर है, इसमें आपको मिक्स किया जा रहा है. देखें दे मूव अप एंड वार्ड एंड इन ए कमर्शियल बेस. जब इंडस्ट्री में आप जाएंगे तो इस तरह के टम्बलर यू कैन सी ओवर देयर. डबल कोन टम्बलिंग मिक्सर भी आपके पास है. वी टाइप फार्मास्यूटिकल मिक्सर भी है. बाय द हेल्प ऑफ दिस यू हैव टू मिक्स दीज दी पाउडर्स. प्लानिटरी मिक्सर है, ये डिफरेंट डिपेंडिंग ऑन नेचर ऑफ जो फार्मूलेशन आपने बनानी है उसके मुताबिक जो है पहले ये मिक्सर होंगे. जैसे इसमें एक कंटेनर है, सेपरेट कंटेनर, इट हैज टू फिक्स इनसाइड दैट मशीन. तो उसमें मिक्स यूनिफॉर्म मिक्सिंग के लिए यू नीड दीज आर टम्बलर्स. फैक्ट्स इन ब्लेंडिंग क्या है? यू हैव टू डू साइज, शेप, डेंसिटी, electrostatic forces, limits of blend segregation machinery mechanism. तो ब्लेंडिंग में क्या साइज देखना है, यू हैव टू शेप चेक करनी है, डेंसिटी, electrostatic forces, limits of blending and segregation mechanisms. Now segregation is another problem of mixing of the powders. So segregation is an undesirable separation of the different components of the blend. Segregation may occur by sifting or percolation, air entrapment, fluidization, and particle entrapment dusting. Fine particle tends to sift or percolate through coarse particles and end up at the bottom of the container and actually lift the larger particles to the surface. Dusting occurs when the finer, lighter particles remain suspended in air longer and do not settle as quickly as the larger or denser particles. This is a segregation. It happens that you need a complete uniform mixing, but there can be a segregation can be found in the powders during mixing of these things. Segregation can take place whenever forces are applied to the powder, for example, by way of gravitation, vibration, or airflow. So there can be chances of segregation of the powders. These forces act differently on particle with different physical characteristics such as particle size, shape, and density. Most commonly, particles separate as a result of particle size differences. You can see the rotary valve transition, rotary valves. So these are to be problem of segregations.